Well, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited that you're here. We're going to go through some things. I know a lot of us are working from home, and I hope that you are all safe, you and your family and friends, in this time. It's been a busy and crazy time, and health and family definitely first. So, thank you for joining us. And the opportunity is let's get started with Teams and what the tips and tricks are all around it. Now, we've been using Teams for quite some time, almost 3 years here now. So we've evolved even in our own business and our clients too, from using it in an atmosphere of projects and creation of projects, we'll talk about a little bit today, and just day-to-day stuff, even what we have to do with maybe our kids pick up from soccer, or maybe just getting that wellness exercise, stop, go drink some water, get out of our chair. However it is, there are a lot of things that people are asking us to do, and Teams is a great way not only collaborate with a bunch of our other organizations, but also a good reminder for us on what we need to do. I wanted to just start with some upcoming webinars. We do these all the time. You can see here we have a cadence roughly every week. Sometimes we throw an extra one in there as well. We're going to be doing some uh, really, if you heard that from project, in managing different projects, we have a generator which actually creates a team all in one and creates the project on the team. I'll show you a little bit about that today, but getting into some in-depth detail of how do you manage a project, collaborate, issues, risks, status reports, automated and generated reporting, and then looking ahead within your projects. That will all be on October 8th. We have a nice, for all those manufacturing organizations that are out there, we're coupling with Microsoft and partnering with them as far as the manufacturing area, and we're going to have a two-part series. The first part is on the 13th, followed by the 15th would be the second part. And we're doing the same thing for a couple other industries. You can see on here, we're doing healthcare in and around on the October 20th and 22nd. So if you have specific their needs around manufacturing healthcare, we'll talk about that. Might be good just to get in there to talk about the overall visibility and the shift to remote work and really understanding what you need for your organization as well. So Teams, what does it bring to us, and really how do we manage everything that's going on? We may have different working styles. We may have different acumen when it comes to technology. Maybe you just had Teams deployed and you're not really sure what's going on. Maybe you've been doing it for a long time and you're trying to get others to join your quest in making collaboration and reducing that email clutter. Yeah, I'll say it again, reduce email. I try to check email. You know how many times? Three times I try to check email during the week or during the day. That way, really trying to have everybody collaborate and respond and work together in a team environment. And we'll be showing you some of that later. So what we heard and what we see from Microsoft as this is growing, you've seen the numbers that are out there that Satya and team are talking about, is it's growing exponentially. Why? A lot of us are working remotely. We need to be able to engage and interact with not only our teams, but also our clients or maybe even some vendors. So how is that doing? Where not only virtual resources shifting to be online, but also, our physical, our office space, different things like that, where we usually go to our clients has been more remote. So this whole disruption of what we do, it's really trying to manage this whole work from home. People might be in a different environment. They might have, little coworkers run around in the background. The noise effect. Teams is coming out with a noise cancellation, which is going to be really nice. So you'll just be keyed in on my voice. There could be a train passing by. It could be a dog barking, and the kids yelling and screaming, whatever it is, or hopefully happy and laughing in the background. Really trying to make sure this is a professional environment as we are. With that being said, things happen, and it's great to see what I think a really good shift in the work environment. I bring in some of that personal life to it. It makes people human when you can see it sort of going on in someone else's life. So if at any point you're on a presentation, something happens, just roll with it. No need to get embarrassed, right? Just keep going and, bring maybe a little joke at the end of it. And the big thing that we're talking about is just this, the connection. We're not going out anymore. We're not visiting clients. We're not seeing people as much as we used to. We're a human, as humans, we're a culture and a creature that strives mostly on interaction, right? And that sense of connection, or you might call it love and affection, but really this connection and interaction and interpersonal skills. So really ask you, any call that you have, you should be on Teams. You should be recording it like this. And you should also have a face-to-face. So I can see you, you can see me. With a team technology now, we can have different stadium seating. So up to, thousands of people can be on Teams now on different sessions from meetings. It's up to 10,000 people, 3,000 different threads. This is great stuff that you have. So the limitations that used to be are no longer there. And then really your sense of purpose and sense of belonging in with teams. You bring the people into the team, you show them your value, you can see them, you can respond to them, talk about some personal thing. Empathy is a big thing here, rather than just starting in on this, I greeted you folks, I welcome you. We started talking about what's going on with everybody so you can start to assimilate and really understand that person. Then we jump into the business chat. And it's really encouraging to start to see some of that, especially in some of these web interactions that we have here. Now, I know we mentioned it at the top of the hour, but if you want during this call, make sure that you are submitting your question and chats there. And what I'll do is I'll take a look at those and be able to answer here. But I'm going to keep moving on. I don't see any chats or questions this far, so we're good there. We want to do everything in one area, and that's really what we espouse here with teams. You might be working in different sectors. You might be doing some, cost information or financials over here. You might be doing communications out in another area. You might be taking notes in another area. All these different disparate applications, even if they're in the Microsoft umbrella, it doesn't really matter. Wouldn't it be great if you had just one area to go? And that's what you can do, from a Microsoft Teams perspective, or even just a collaboration area. That's really what we're doing. And Teams will be that involvement. It'll be that one envelope that you can go. So that one icon is all you need to go in and get all your work done on a day-to-day basis. And it's actually opening up to now not only professional, but also personal. So you can have private chats. A lot of organizations have a water cooler team out there where they're telling jokes, or they're sharing information about their family, their life, what they did over the weekend, all that great stuff that you used to do, passing in the halls, really trying to bring that to life and foster a better sense of community through the online team collaboration. So it all starts with chat. Really these chats, good thing, they're persistent. So we talked about getting away from emails. How do we do that? Well, when someone else responds to an email, really the mental shift here is get it out of my inbox and get it to somebody else's inbox. Whether one, I answer the question, or two, I give enough detail or provide enough link, it could be open. Now, if we change our mindset and say, hey, this is something that everybody can see, and it's also a knowledge base, now my responses are a little bit more refined. I take some time and pride in what I'm responding in, and I might put a link in there so they can self-service versus, hey, go check out, I saw that in a blog somewhere. No, here's the blog link. This blog link says X, X, Y, and Z. Go ahead and solve your problem. So now we can actually do searches and do some other things, which I'll be showing you in a live demonstration. Also, what you can see from here, you might have teams across the globe. People might be speaking different languages, feel comfortable, communicating in different languages. No problem. I'll show you the translation that's there. And it's a great way really to communicate in whatever given language you're in and have the entire organization respond back in whatever language they are. Also, you can save any of your chats, and I use this all the time. I'm going to show you that trick, which is to pull up any of your saved discussions or blog posts that are out there. Another area, for teams is just connecting from anywhere. So we have, a machine that we happen to be on. We have one of these crazy devices, right, that travels with us anywhere. This is the ability, really, whether it's a tablet, it's your phone, it's a PC, it's a laptop, whatever it happens to be, is now you can get that same slick, smooth user interface that everybody's familiar with. And that Teams umbrella is going to go across, browser based. So it's going to be very quick. If you connect to a Teams meeting, you might have seen this before and you don't have it, it will prompt you, said, hey, do you want to use the Teams app on your phone to do this? Or do you want to use the actual native app on your computer? So you have those two options, whether it's the web-based or the app itself natively. So you have that desktop version, which is great. Now, the ability to have everything, you start getting into governance. We've heard a lot of, I have team proliferation. There's so many darn teams out there. While I sort of agree with that with some folks, personally, I don't care how many teams people put me on. Send me 20, 30 different teams. I don't care about it. It could be hundreds and thousands of teams for that matter. I'll show you a couple tricks where you can earmark those, you can search, you can do some different things that you can really save you time when you're looking at. Another trend that's moving forward that we're seeing here is, rather than creating many different small teams, a lot of organizations are starting to create large teams, big teams where they do have a development group or marketing or maybe even executives all in one area. And then what they'll do is they'll make them private. So you can create public channels or private channels and allow only people that are there. Now, it really depends on how your organization runs, but actually how the owner of this entire creation of the team and the different channels wants to run. No one is saying you have to do it this way, which is actually kind of refreshing. But at the same point, we're all looking for some sort of guidance and handrails to do this. So you can go in here, you can do those, and you can do it. Now, customization of different channels. When you're actually coming in here, you can go ahead and upload different files. You can pin them. You can have different tabs along the top. You can see right here that it just comes with default with the post and the files and the wiki. But why can't we add a report there? Why can't we add a status report, maybe if it's for a particular project? Tasks that are in and done for that particular team. In this case, maybe it's a project. Whatever you want to put out there, you can, from photos all the way to to-do items, from forms and surveys. It's endless. Whether you choose to create a separate channel over here. So right here, if we take a look at this, the team is called marketing, and underneath all these are different channels. Within a channel, you have your different tabs up top. So we happen to be in the swagging gear, and we're looking at our different tabs. And you can add anything that has a URL, whether it's Microsoft or not, you can add that in directly and you can go. Now, when you're updating and putting things different, you can either add directly a file, or I'll show you how you can make a connection directly into a SharePoint site that already exists, which is super powerful. Another big thing that we recommend is adding these different apps. Go out there and find them, whatever they happen to be. If you're a very heavy Word shop or, Office 365, you're probably going to be using Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Power BI, Planner, some of these things. You might have surveys through the new Flow tool, the survey tool out there, which is called Forms, or you might, go use a different application. And we're only talking about Microsoft stuff. Say you have, other applications that are out there. Yes, you can use those. And I'll bring up a list they have. Now in the chat, if there's anything that you see that you really like, send it over to us. Let us know and we might incorporate it in another one. What you're seeing on the screen right now is the ability to multi-edit. So we have the purple logo for one person, and then we have Diane right there in the pink there, and Lynn and Diane are communicating back and forth here. This is super helpful. We do this all the time when we're doing proposals. We might have a bunch of different slides that I'm responsible for, and a huge group comes in and does different slides as well. So we can have a lot of people working on all in one, and we have versioning, which is fantastic. Now, getting all this information and putting it into a succinct place. This is what I was talking about. Whether you use OneNote, usually other the leading apps that we've seen, and there might be others out there. I know there are, but from a Microsoft perspective, folks start to use Wiki or they use OneNote. Now, if you haven't used Wiki before, it's very nice. It's clear. The formatting's nice, and I really like it. The only drawback that I found right now with Wiki is you can't do a global search on Wiki. So even within this, if I was to say, hey, and it was 4 or 5 pages long, I couldn't just say search for tips. Now I could do some screen searching, which is okay, but it's really not that intuitive search, which is going to go through and highlight and find it across everything. Whereas in OneNote, you folks know I can do searches. I can go across multiple OneNotes and find the terms or the different tags that I'm looking for. So really for best practices, and follow-ups and meetings, as well as maybe even goals of your organization or a particular meeting that we're having, you might want to pop it out into OneNote. And OneNote can be inherent. You can put it directly into your team, and we use it all the time. From a resource perspective, you may want to pin different pieces. So you can actually come in here. We see a lot of this when we're talking about news. So if you are researching and doing some information about different clients, let's put those news feeds in there so you get those constantly, and you can get notifications on that as well. So you can do maybe if you're in IT, you want to do some performance monitoring or live site monitoring, et cetera. We see different, in organizations doing metric tracking. All this information you can access right in one place, and you can do it. On the page right here is the most used, I think, app that's out there, which is the website. So again, I said if you have a URL, any URL that's out there, you want to go ahead and put it into Teams, direct them right there. Now they might need to log on to that site or pull it up, but you can put in the app directly with the URL. A big bonus is, and I like this one, is the ability to not only share files, but as you can see on the screen is, I want to share this file, but I also want to share it with. So you can have your attachments that automatically upload for team authoring. And then within there, you can say, anybody within this team can author this tool or author this document, or you might want to restrict that. Maybe it's the opposite. You're saying, hey, I want everyone just to be able to view this because it's the final version and that's it. So within the link settings, not a lot of people have seen this. So once you create a document down the bottom, watch this one more time, you go ahead and you hit the little ellipsis, it pulls up there, and then you can do those settings. So there's the ellipsis, pull that up, there are your link settings. A nice little thing, and it makes it easy, like we talked about, for that co-authoring of different documents, if you let them have permissions across that. Now, this is what we were talking about. Super, super cool with Teams. You can attach to anything that's out there. Now, there's a bunch of apps and services that already come. They have new ones each and every week. So you can take a look here. Maybe you want to connect into one of these other ones like Airbrake or even Avocado. You can actually just click on there, type in the information, use your user connections, and you'll be able to bring that in. Now, just because you add an app, within a team, does not mean that everybody's going to have access to it. So there's still that strict permissioning over in the app side, as well as potential licensing. So if they need a license, then they're going to need to do that. So, folks from teams have, if your team right now is using a task management system that happens to be non-Microsoft, fine, bring it in. Asana, whatever it happens to be, bring that sucker in. No problem. They can work as is. Maybe your other groups would be using something maybe as easy as Planner or something that's out of the box and free with Microsoft. So a nice area for teams too that we recognize is the ability to cost save. Bring everything in now. You're continuing to pay for it, whatever happens to be. But then you'll have side-by-side comparison of what maybe a Microsoft tool or a free tool can be with Office 365 with something you're paying for today. And that is the case. We hear that often from our clients is, hey, I was using this other tool like Asana, and then I found Planner, and now I don't, I cut that cost totally. Uh, these are great stories. We hear these a lot. And we really offer up to you is challenge you is go out there, start using this stuff and see what other folks in your organization have when it comes to Teams. One big recommendation when you're using Teams is have an area for team tips. Have an area for people to communicate across the board. Everybody can see this one. And if they want to, go ahead and get notified every time a post is there, even better. But that will be one area that we can sort of work as a team's governance to say, hey, we're posting up, uh, different things from PPM Works maybe, or even Microsoft here that have different clips like this. This one today, we're going to do it, finish everything in less than a half hour, right? So this is a great way for somebody just to go out there and learn some things. Now, the at mention, I'm sure a lot of people have been doing this, but when you at mention, you start typing here and Noah, in this case, comes up, and you start going, did you know, and I really recommend, I don't say, hey, Noah McCormick, I don't call him that. I call him Noah. So right after Noah McCormick comes up, you can backspace or delete the last name. Also, when you're adding in somebody's name for the first time, you can edit their name. So it may come in as their email address, not their full address. So it might just come in as Noah. Well, maybe there are 3 or 4 Noahs. I need Noah M and Noah Z. So there's a big opportunity there for you. Now, when we get into the tool and you take a look at Teams itself, there's a lot to be said. And let's go ahead and switch over here. I'm going to bring up Teams directly, and we're going to just start getting into some of those tips and tricks that we talked about. All right, so let me pull up my team and make sure here that we're sharing the right thing. Yes, we are. Perfect. So we're talking about Teams. We had some different, in this case, teams here. We have a bunch of different channels here, and we started going off. Well, the first thing that you talked about was the translation, which I think is kind of cool. Really quickly, you can have different languages over here, and as I come in here and really take this, you can just hit the translation button, and it goes from Japanese to exactly what it is. So the default language is what it's going to bring it in. So show original message. Default for me, when I set this up, I'm doing things in English. So that's what I'm going to see over here. Another area that we talked about is, remember we said, hey, have some tips and tricks area. Well, in this case, I put it under my team, but you might have right up here a team called Planner Tips and Tricks, or Tool Tips and Tricks, or Helpful, or Knowledge Base, whatever you want to call it. But do something where everybody can see. In this case, I just started jotting some things down for today. You can come in here and you can use these. And I'll also send these out. But if you want the Microsoft one out to Teams, there's a lot of great things there. Our blogs are one. But these is what I want to talk about, is shortcuts here. So, okay, we happen to be in this wiki, etc. And we're going in here. And, we might like a particular post. So what's the shortcut to see everything? Well, up here, if we just go ahead and put the backspace, you can see a list of everything, which is good, but I'd have to scroll down or know what they happen to be. If I use my Alt key and use that same thing, try that again here. I use Alt, not key. There it is. Use Alt, not Control, but Alt. Now I can see a pop-up of all these shortcuts, and I like this. I would recommend just take a look at it, 2 or 3 minutes, and recognize, some that you really like. Starting audio, muting, toggling, doing different things, going back up a day, seeing the current time. You can do all this, but if you're presenting or you're doing something, I really like some of these quick shifts. The show command is what we just did here. And go to. So if you want to go to a particular channel or a particular posting, you can actually do that. Starting a new chat, I use this a lot. Okay, zoom in, zoom out. I do this constantly. I don't even remember that I'm doing this. But one of the other areas that I wanted to show you is this search. So if you want, rather than using your mouse, maybe say you're typing some stuff down here, we're doing a bunch of stuff, and you just want to get a search going. It's just Control backspace, and I can say, you know what? I just want to see everything that I have for help. and it brings me within Microsoft Teams to help. And you can start clicking around and doing a bunch of stuff here. So that was just simply help in the command. Now, if I go back here to our Teams area and say I'm over in a particular post and we're looking at some different posts, and I'm one of these guys where I read some information. I usually do a good job at holding on to that information. But what if you want to earmark that or bookmark it? Or what does that even do? The bookmark. Let's say here I got my agenda. Here's a bunch of stuff. Yep. You know what? I need to make those slides later, but I just don't have time. I'm on a webcast right now. I can do save this message, and it's saved. Well, I don't know about you folks, but if you ever are looking back here, I can go to this saved area here. And when I go and take a look at saved, then I can start to see some of those saved areas. Well, that again is a nice easy keystroke as well. But if I come in here and I use my control again, right? And I go out and just type in saved, it brings me back everything that I have. And so now I'm taking a look at everything that's saved here, and I can see that not only is it saved, but it drops me off right where it's at. So I really like that tool. The other one I wanted to talk about is, sort of the integration. So Planner will just pick for one. If I put the Planner in here, what this is going to do, it's going to give me all those tasks that we have in Planner. And now I wanted to show you this. This tool is changing, actually, the Planner. It's going to be called My Task pretty soon. But right now it has Planner and To Do. So if you had your Microsoft To Do and you're, coming in here, if I go and just, take a look here and open up. So I got my To Do tasks, pick up kids, do all this good stuff. And then I got things that are coming in from Planner for these different areas. If I take a look, I can start to see everything. My to-do tasks and things that are coming in for actual projects. How are they coming in for projects? You're going to see that again in the next webcast, but I'll give you a little hint here. We have a tool that brings things in from projects and puts them into Planner. So now you have your actual tasks for project, you have your tasks from Planner, and you have your tasks like pick up kids and go up and get a walk all in one area. The idea here is one simple area, purple. Get everything. People use Outlook a lot, right? Well, I can just quickly go to my Outlook, right? Directly here. Another trick here, if I just want to come in here and accept things, I can do that. And I can also join this meeting directly if it has a Teams meeting. So everything is listed here as we go through. So very quick, very easy, some tips and tricks on how to get you from starting with your organization, but also those heavy users that are out there. The shortcuts are really, really good. Being able to send an email directly to people. Here's that get email address, or you might want to do the link. Lastly, I'm going to show you one more thing. A lot of folks say, well, I constantly am typing stuff, and then, I hit enter and it sends it out. Well, first things first, no problem. Typically, depending on how it's set up, is I like to allow everybody to edit. So you always have that edit capability. And then I recommend people always go into this formatting. So if you're in the formatting, now we can do a title, great webinar, and then we have our tips are here. And I can go ahead and put in my whatever it happens to be right in here and submit that. So I like this, and then if I come in here, I can hit my enter signs, and maybe we want to have Megan, be. Remember I told you about that tip? I don't call her Megan Bowen, so I want to back up one. Use your backspace key, and now it's Megan. Thanks for the tips. Please update, whatever happens to be. And then what I can do is I can actually link directly into the file that I want her to update, and it's this PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, share that link, and it shares it all right within one. So a perfect demonstration of how to create, how to format, change our name, and then we go off and edit and we submit this. Lastly, we'd probably come in here and I want to save this, right? Save that message, use our tip of Control/ to come up here, type in our saved, if I can type, and now we have all of our saved posts, and here's the one for Megan. Perfect. So, folks, I know we had a brief time with you. We wanted to get in here real quick, show you a bunch of information, and hopefully, at this point, you have not only learned some more from tips, but you also might see some and say, hey, these guys should share this on the next time. So, go ahead and let us know that. Before we sign off, if you folks want, we do team workshops. That's where we come and help you not only set it up, but maybe advocate and roll this out. But we also have other areas here. You can see that we have different workshops in a day in and around my project and managing projects, reporting all around dashboarding in the yellow, and then into the power platform area would be sort of that app in the day, whether it's project focused or not. You can get all this information, reach out to us at info@ppmworks.com, and that can do. Another thing that we do these postings all the time. We happen to be doing, YouTube live at some point, or we post these back up. I'd recommend that you come out here and you subscribe to our channel. It doesn't take too long, but what you'll do is you'll get these posts. We try to keep them short, sweet, and get the information over to you. Again, if you had any questions, I will stick on, but for the purpose of this recording, I'm going to say have yourself a great day, morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on where you are. Thanks for joining PPM Works. On behalf of Microsoft Teams, and PPM Works, we're happy to have you here and hope to see you soon. Have a great day.